Good afternoon. I'm here today with our home learners who are taking on philosophers and the questions they ask. Today, I want to discuss the existentialist French philosopher Sartre. Sartre believed that human beings are condemned to be free, and as such, we are fully responsible for our actions and the outcomes of such actions. In this sense, Sartre was a determinist, rejecting the notion of fate. He suggests that oppression caused by the desire to conform to popular ideas causes us to break from authentic ways of being in the world. He thinks that when we lie to ourselves, we act in bad faith, and therefore we live an unauthentic life. To battle bad faith, he suggests that it is essential to know thyself. He also claims that such self-knowledge is very difficult to attain, requiring much reflection, deep questions, and hard work. We have to decide what it is we want as opposed to what it is that we need. We have to be brutally honest with ourselves, and most of us entertain some level of bad faith in the way we live our daily lives. It is what keeps us from embracing true confidence in our actions. So I'm going to ask the young people here today with me, do you think it is possible for human beings to be completely honest with themselves about everything they do? Having answered that, I also want you to address, how do society, politics, and love shape the way we talk to ourselves? I open it up.
I think that it is possible to act in good faith, like that. I think it is possible to truly know yourself, but I don't think I can do it. I think that it is possible to completely know yourself and do a decision like based entirely on you, like a decision that is not influenced by anything else, just in what you truly think is authentic or truly know yourself. But I think it's very hard, especially to know yourself, because I mean, at least for me, if I think about everything I do and I just like, I don't know, like write it down, everything I think and do, I would automatically judge myself, and it would be really hard for me. I don't think I could deal with that.
Can you say, why would you judge yourself?
I would judge myself to what I think of other people or what I feel their lives is, and I would immediately find myself that I was lacking things that would make me cooler, more important, better person.
And who do you think really, in your view, decides what is cooler, a better person? Who makes those decisions or measurements?
I think I do. I think I make the decision about who's cooler, and that will be. I think I decide that will never be myself. That will be lacking, and then you see just like the reflection of the person that's cool and perfect. But I think I decided.
So you're not feeling pressure from society or from media. You're not feeling pressure from that.
No, I think
Or parents.
what I most see more often is what influences me to decide what is cooler or not. But I think I decided and not society.
Okay.
I think that it's pretty much impossible to live completely truthfully, like without lying to yourself at some point, but because sometimes you're probably going to be subconsciously lying to yourself before you even know it. You may be doing something that isn't true to yourself, but you don't know yet that it's not true to yourself. Or you may sense the fact that you're not being true to yourself, but you don't know what is true to yourself. So I think that it's inevitable. It's a part of being human, is going through trial and error of what you enjoy and what's true to yourself and what's not.
Mm-hmm. I'm very interested in that when you say that you may not even know what is true to yourself. You may not even know what is your decision and what is being influenced by others. And I think that is very true. And to my experience, it's very true. How does one become aware?
I think it's good to socialize yourself and like learn lots of different things. For example, it was my style that I was finding that I wasn't being true to myself in my style. and style for me is really important about myself. It kind of frames who I am as a person. So I think last summer I didn't enjoy most of the mainstream clothing, but I also didn't know what I enjoyed. And so I've spent time like getting to know like lots of different things, and I've kind of branched out a little bit more from what like society's expectation is. And I've started looking at other things, and I've started opening my mind to other things other than just what society puts out as trendy or cool to wear, and started trying to find people that I like their style. So I'm like, oh, I feel like that would be something that I would enjoy, and then I try it out for a bit, and if I feel comfortable in it, and I continue on that. And so it's just exposing yourselves to lots of different things. It can help you find what you like. I don't know if that makes sense.
So exposing yourself to other ideas and sort of bouncing those off of other people. All right. What would you say to that, Aiden?
Like, I think for like a person to be like completely honest with themselves would be like an almost impossible feat, and that person like might not even lead the nicest life. Like like it would be very hard to socialize with other people, from like just communicating with them to accepting gifts from them to like having a life. I think like unless you would be confined to solitary by yourself and you enjoyed that, I think it would be very hard to undergo having to only be truthful with yourself. Imagine somebody's giving you a gift and they give you a gift that you already have or you dislike. And then instead of saying, "Oh, thank you very much, I really enjoy it," you say instead like, "Oh, I hate it." And can you take it back? Like whenever I have like somebody does something, I say something like not like to my face, and in my head I have like the exact what I would like to say, and sometimes that's like mostly not the nicest, right? And then you like adapt that goes to undergo change in those like crucial like seconds before you like say. And I think that is actually really what makes us who we are. It's not that we only say want. We tell people what they want too, but that also fits to our needs. We let go of the things that don't need to be don't need to be heard, don't need to be told, like let outside of our minds. And I think that's really what kind of makes us social creatures.
Interesting. So I hear the focus shifting from that really a certain amount of personal bad faith is necessary to be social creatures. It's very interesting. Evan.
Well, I think that like the society and politics and all that, they can manipulate what you say, but they can't shape it. Like you have to do that yourself.
Say more about what you mean.
You might want to say a certain thing, but you don't feel it like it's the right thing. And so you manipulate it to say something different.
So like what Aiden was saying, those crucial seconds where you change to be the right thing, or the thing that's the statement that's going to bring about acceptance.
Yep.
So then, I mean, this is very interesting. So that acting in bad faith is a part or necessary part of being social creatures. So in line to, because when we're defining bad faith, we're defining bad faith as where you are acting in apart from what is your true feeling inside. You are lying to yourself. And you're saying that what I'm hearing from the group is that a certain amount of that has to occur in order to be social creatures. Can I get any of you to speak to a personal experience where you've acted in bad faith, and what you might have done differently to bring about a different outcome for you? I'm going to start with you, Camila, and then Aiden.
My birthday 2 years ago, I got a present from the mom of my friend. She gave me this really cute purse with a dog on it. But I, especially at that age, like 10 years old, I hated purse. So, but I didn't want to hurt that mom's feeling because she was so happy that she was like, I'm gonna give really good gift. So I just said, oh, thanks, I really like it. And of course, I hated it, and I was like, I don't know what to say to her. And I feel that now I could have maybe told her, I really thank you for the thought, like for giving me this gift, but it's not really my style.
And how do you think that what reaction would that bring apart from her?
I think she might be a bit sad, but I mean, it's kind of hard.
Aiden, thank you, Camila.
I think that furthering on my last point, I think an act of bad faith, I think that like I've acted in bad faith like many times, like even in like the last like week. I think that like almost everybody else acts in some sort of like bad faith from something small done like unconsciously to like other larger things, or like the person knows what they did and tries to avoid thinking about it, or like altogether tries to forget it. Like I think for like as for an example of like what I have done personally in the last month or so, I'd say that like it was about like 3 weeks ago, and like I said that, or maybe it was like a month ago, and I said that I had done the food for the dog, like her container. She has a container, and her food it stinks. It's really bad, and it makes your whole arm stink for the next day. And I said, no, I said I had done it when actually I had gotten my little brother to do it, uh, by saying that I had to quickly go to my room to do something I had not done before. And I think that I should have just like done the deed instead of just pushing it off, because I knew that I would have to do it eventually. And like I've done it, like now I've done it, and I've done it a few times, and it's just better to accept it than to try to push it off. Or like if you do push it off and try to like take it back or do it the next time, then like just try to forever push it off, because eventually it's going to come back to you.
Do you think that it might have been an option to say that you find that the food is very stinky to you? Is there another job that you could do for your brother? Could you have done jobs swaps? Because this is more honest to yourself to say, I really don't like this job, rather than I will do it because it's the right thing to do. It's the good thing to do. But be honest with yourself. I am, like some guys, they say, I don't do diapers, but hey, I'll do this and this. But maybe you don't, you're just, your stomach turns when you scoop out that dog food. And so maybe you say, look, give me something that you don't like to do, or suck it up. But my thought that I'd like to throw back at you, Aiden, is you sucking it up and just saying, no, it's the right thing to do to feed the dog and to take my turn, which it is, but
yeah, I could like do it. And I have swapped. I've actually, the whole point was that I had done all the swaps, and like for like the few months that we had it before, and then finally my brother was kind of sick of doing it for me. So he was like, oh, you know what, Aiden? It was Kalen. He was like, you know what, Aiden, you have to do it. I'm not doing it. Because he hates it too, and all of us don't like scooping that thing out.
what kind of dog food did your dog eat?
Just buy
Yeah.
different food.
She's like,
It's that simple.
yeah, she eats like half raw, half anything. We did. And now the newer one is like way worse, because the old one was okay, but this new one is just horrible. It's just,
You know you're allowed to get a different one, right?
yeah, we already tried. But we buy it in the 20-kilo bags. Those go very slowly.
It is the same for me. I can relate.
You don't just like try out a new one and you get another one. It's like it takes forever to go through it.
Clara, can you think of an example where you've acted in bad faith and lied to yourself about something, and how could you have handled it differently?
I don't know if this is necessarily like bad faith, because I wasn't necessarily lying to myself, but it wasn't exactly the nicest thing to do. I've done this multiple occasions where I get into a debate with my dad and I let him win because I'm bored of debating. That's one example. I tell myself it's fine, but I don't know. I feel really guilty. I'm not the sort of person who like lies to myself a lot. Oh, I have taken money out of the Lazy Boy when I know it was my dad's, but I wanted it, so I took it.
And how did you justify that to yourself?
I pretended I didn't know that it was his.
And you were able to keep telling yourself that?
Yeah,
How could you have done things differently?
I could have given him the money and gone, here, you deserve it. He does deserve it. He does a very good job of parenting, so I guess he should get paid a little for that. Yeah, he's sitting like 10 feet away from me.
I want my money.
Yeah, so I guess that was in kind of bad faith. I don't really do those sort of things a lot because I feel guilty afterwards.
Guilty that you've lied to yourself?
No, guilty because usually if I'm going to lie to myself, it's so I can hurt another person. And I feel guilty because I can't stand being mean to other people. I wish I could be mean to other people because it'd be really handy sometimes. I think it keeps me from being an absolute tyrant. So you know what? It's kind of good that I have a hard time lying to myself.
What about you, Evan?
Well, I haven't really had an experience like that.
You've never had an experience where you've acted in bad faith? And
No, well, at least not a memorable one.
so you act according to your desires
And no, I'm not going to try.
No,
I'm not going to
Christian, he
try to
doesn't.
create
He just
one.
has a very, very bad memory.
So I take it, Aiden, from your perspective, that you feel it's next to impossible to not act in bad faith at some point or another?
Definitely for Evan.
Yes. How might you get help if you were trying to look at really developing a way of doing those deep questions to get to know yourself? How could you ask for help?
Call the crisis hotline. No.
That's a very good suggestion, actually, Evan.
Wow, okay.
Anybody else?
Well, I think if you're trying to get to like know yourself and like what you like, expose yourself to a lot of things. If you expose yourself to a lot of things and a lot of different views, you'll eventually find one that you align with and like.
Yeah, I guess what I was thinking about is that to really do that self-work, it's not something that we do easily, to put that value into our own integrity. We always put it off and say, oh yeah, I'll deal with that later, or it doesn't really matter. I'm fine with how things are. But to do that really deep work, which I think Sartre was inviting us to do, it often involves, I think, Clara, you are correct, in exposing yourself to someone, or other people, to other people and their ideas, and also their questions. And that's where we would go for counseling. And in counseling sessions, people always think, oh, well, that's where you go when someone tells you the answers to your problems. Typically, a good counselor asks questions, and you do the work yourself. And I think that the existentialists were very big on you doing those sorts of deep questioning sessions yourself and with others that can help you to be really honest to yourself. And in owning that honesty, you own a certain integrity, and it is incredible what that does to your confidence that you are acting in good faith. You are acting with integrity.
There's also, you also have to have like almost a sense of, and I don't know if this is true, but like carelessness, like not take other people's, like don't worry about other people's opinions. Obviously don't go around hurting people, being careless. Being true to yourself, sometimes you just like have to be like, okay, I'm not going to worry about other people's opinions or what society will think of this. I want to do what makes me happy or what I like.
I'm thinking about, like, Aiden, when we were talking about, maybe 8 months back, we were talking about, going to, you were going to Sapriti, and you were talking about some of the ideas that she is asking you to think and work about and work on, and that you had moved away a little bit from that. You were finding that you weren't as connected. And would you have ever told her that?
Yeah, I have quite a few times actually. Like I've said that like it's like very like those are like the people who do that are like just so like amazing at that. They are like the people. Those are the people. Those like the finite number who can actually do this are those, and those like skills to do that. Learning those is what I really want to do, but it's just like so hard too, because like every single thing you do unconsciously, there is like a second side to it. It's like flipping the coin. There's always a different side to it. Like there's always an unconscious like remark here, or like something you've said to a friend. There's always like another bit to like the conversation or the occasion, the situation that you're in. And I think that it's like it's hard to like focus on those individually small points, everything you do, that I'm like try to correct those. It's really a skill that hard to master. It's not something you pick up overnight. It's something that takes years to understand, to actually, and then even like longer to interweave it into your conversations, into times when you need it. So yeah.
Mhm. I would agree with you to find those people who are truly, non-judgmental and honest with themselves about the influences on their decision making and where their decisions are coming from and why they do what they do. I think that we are not really honest to ourselves, and I would go out on a limb to say to you that even with Evan, is I don't think that it is possible to be truly honest, because there is always that, as Aiden, you were saying so beautifully there's always the other side that we have not considered as to what is underneath that movement or that decision that you did. There is always some influence, there is some agenda, and really looking deeply to getting to that place where there is no agenda and that you truly know yourself and you are acting from yourself. I don't know if it is even really possible. Sartre believes that you can do that kind of work. I think that I'm just thinking back on the last few days that I've lived, and I think there are a lot of things I do and lie to myself about because I am trying to make other people happy. And I think that I'm doing that from my own decision and my own agency, where actually I'm doing a lot of things to try and smooth the paths of others. And therefore, when things don't go well, I can always blame that on those people.
Yeah, this doesn't like have to do with this like question right now, but I was just thinking, in the way that act of bad faith, like stealing would be an act of bad faith, would it also be like a kind of twisted act of good faith to yourself? Like you feel like it's the right thing to do. Would that be good faith? But then it's also bad faith because it's like the other side, right? Like you think it's good faith because you think it's like you would deserve that, it's yours, take. But then if like another person viewing it from a different vantage point sees somebody stealing, why would they do that? What is their motive? So I think it also depends on like the views of different people, like the ways they cross and intertwine matters from like kind of what perspective and where you stand.
Yeah, I think you've used a really good word there, is perspective. And so when you're looking at each act that you do and you're looking at you're embracing different perspectives, then you get different answers to whether you are acting in good or bad faith. And that being whether you are being truthful to yourself.
Commenting on Aiden's, I read somewhere that said he he did this question, like it was about the student and like what he should do, if he should go to war, stay with his mother.
Yeah.
In the end, he said that there was no right or wrong answer. Just when the student chose, it would be the right answer for him if he did it in good faith. that it doesn't matter if someone else views it as bad faith or good faith, because it's the only right answer if you do it honestly
If you're doing it honestly
to
according to
yourself.
your belief, to yourself, and then you make it the right answer because
Yes,
it was according to your faith.
beliefs.
The other people's perspective then is not as important because you did it. You made that decision, and therefore you also take responsibility, and it's easier to take responsibility because you're being honest to yourself that you made
Yes.
that decision. That was a really good place for us to wrap up. Thank you so much. I'm going to sign off now.